What's up, Epic 7? It's the second week of the Overlord Epic 7 collaboration, and with this second week comes the second half of the event. So, I'm going to go over this step by step because there's a lot of new players here, and I want to make sure they understand this content and how to maximize it for their own benefit, because this event is lit. This event will allow you to do months of progress in just a couple of weeks, so I think it's important for new players to have the best start they can get on this event. For those of you who are veterans and know what's going on and just want to get to the teams, there's a table of contents in the description of the video. Jump to the section that suits your needs and lay on like a butcher. For everyone else, let's get into it. First things first, when you log into the event, you want to click on View Story, and you want to go to Chapter 2, and you want to complete Acts 6 through 10. There's no challenge to this. It's just lore and fluff, and it's a pretty good story. Have fun with it, enjoy it. Once you complete Act 10, you'll get the 2 gold transmit stone reward, which is nice. Maybe you can stack these up and use them to pull Cidd in a few weeks. Once you've completed the story up to Act 10, a little gold arrow is going to appear right here. Now, you don't have to go to the next stage. If you are really enjoying farming Sandstorm Desert with Albedo, you feel like you need more destruction gear, more HP gear, more immunity gear, by all means, stay here and farm to your heart's content. But if you're ready to move on to the next stage, click this gold arrow and you'll move from the Sandstorm Desert over to the Eerie Underground Ruins. The Eerie Underground Ruins is just like prior event, but instead of farming destruction, HP, and immunity, the obtainable sets are crit chance, speed, and pen set. These are arguably the 3 most important sets in Epic 7. Now remember, Epic 7 is a gear-driven game. Units are great and everything, but the units don't do anything without gear. Unlike many gacha games you've played that are unit-driven, keep in mind that gear is what makes Epic 7 go around. You can legitimately achieve in this game with free units, as long as you've got the gear to back them up. Crit set is one of the most important sets, especially early game. 12% crit chance is a massive amount of gear score. You get more out of crit set than any other 2-piece set in the game, and it will really help you flesh out and complete a lot of units that you're maybe struggling to build. Speed set is arguably the most important set in the game. There'll be plenty of people that say I'm a Banshee gamer, meaning they farm the slow bruiser gear. They say they don't need speed set. They're full of it. Everybody needs speed set. They may not use as much speed set as, say, an aggressive player or a cleave player or a speed Andy, but they still have speed set somewhere on their team. And pen set is one of the more valuable sets for single target DPS units. And what's so great about it being here is this set is normally only found on the Cades hunt or in Rift. And those are very end game content. It's very hard for early game players to find. So it's really nice that we have access to it from this event at such an easy level. So definitely pick up some pen set and stock up on this. Now, before we get into how the event works, I want to go over some of the buttons on this screen. First, there's Overlord's Force. Overlord's Force is your focus. As soon as you get enough currency to unlock something in Overlord's Force, you unlock it and use it immediately. The first 3 give you the Ring of Ainz, the Shooting Star, and the Ring of Mastery Wand. These are imprints for Ainz, and you get these from the first week, the Sandstorm Desert portion of the event, where you use Albedo to help you farm it. These will take your Ainz all the way up to S imprint. Now that we've unlocked the second week, the Shaltear section of story, you can get the round ring and the ... of Momonga. These are the last 2 imprints to fully unlock Ainz, and once you do that for free, you will get this really nice necklace that hopefully rolls well for you and doesn't just hit defense over and over again like it has for everyone else. As soon as you get these imprints, you use them. And the way you use them is just go into your character roster, find your mages tab, find your Ainz in your mages list, pull them up, and you want to click on this helmet in the upper left-hand corner, and that will take you to this overall screen, and there will be a memory imprint button down here. Now, mine's already at SSS, so the button's grayed out, but the rest of you will click this. It'll bring up another screen interface where you can select the ring charms and just shove them into Ainz. They have no other use in the game, just use them all and imprint and take your Ainz up to SSS as quickly as possible. You might find that you're not able to clear stages 3 and 4 at just S imprint, but by the time you get to SSS imprint, suddenly it's a lot easier, and that's because this imprint really boosts Ainz's power. check it out. We go into a random stage here, and you click this details tab here at the button, and look at this. With no imprint, his death sentence skill just does the raw 50k damage, but by the time you get it up to S imprint, it does 60% more damage. At double S, it's 100% more damage. At triple S, it's 140%. Those last two, they add 80% damage to his fixed damage boost of death sentence. That's a massive amount of damage. If you're struggling to clear before the frenzy effect sets in and you just get killed, farm the lower stages, take it up to double S or triple S, and see if suddenly you aren't able to clear it faster. I think you'll be surprised. Next on the tab is the Orbis Treasury. The Orbis Treasury has 3 buttons here. We have the illustration exchange, and this is where you can trade in 1500 currency and get the lobby art that you see in the background here, and you can make this your splash screen art if you like. It's got no value to the game whatsoever other than cosmetic. Okay, this is a cosmetic effect, and if you want to spend 1500 currency to get it, that's great. I love cosmetics. I will probably buy it. But before you spend anything on this, you want to focus on the loot exchange. In the loot exchange, there are 30 different items to be obtained. Now, a lot of people were panicked because although there are 30 items in here, it only lets you collect 15 times. It says you've used all your loot exchange opportunities. If this is anything like the Lethe event, which was this similar style event that they ran back in August, next week it'll open for 15 more tries. So you'll be able to finish the shop out and buy everything in the shop before the end of the event. Now, one complaint that people have, and I kind of agree with it, is the Staff of Ainz gives you bonus currency in the event. And they've locked it behind an RNG time gate, right? If you're lucky, you get both of these in this first 15, and you get 5% more currency. If you're unlucky like me, you don't get both of these, and you'll get 5% less currency during this week, and you'll get the rest next week. It's only 5%, guys. We're talking about instead of getting 90 currency per run, you're getting 94, 95 currency per run, depending on how they round. It's not such a big deal that I think you should just stall on this event and wait, or that you should feel like you're getting left behind because you didn't get the staff. I mean, it kind of sucks. We all like min-maxing. We all want to have our best foot forward, but don't sweat it if you don't get it. It's not that big of a deal. Next Wednesday or Thursday, when the third week of the event opens up, you'll be able to finish the shop off and get this staff. And the third is the exchange. This is where you can click on this button, choose which set you want to craft. And let's say I want to craft speed set, and you hit craft, and it will randomly give you a random set with random stats and random substats, but it will be the set you select. And this is what makes this event so freaking amazing. Now this piece is not so freaking amazing, but to be able to target focus the gear that you want, the set that you want, have it always be red gear, no pink gear, no blue gear, no garbage offsets that you didn't care about, and it's gold positive. It didn't cost me anything to craft this piece, unlike using hunt mats where it actually costs you gold to craft. This is a gear positive event. You won't spend any gold getting the gear. Now, you'll spend gold leveling it, of course, but you won't spend any gold getting the gear, and that makes it different from just about every other event we've ever had. Gold positive events that give you the top of the top epic red gear in the set that you want, that's what makes this event so amazing. I've seen some posts on Reddit and some discussion that, oh no, if you look at this math and tilt your head to the right just a little bit and think on it, the other events are slightly better. They're really missing the plot that this lets you hyper focus on the specific set that your account needs to grow better, to grow faster, and it doesn't wreck your in-game currency. It doesn't wreck your gold. You're able to actually grow in gold while you're farming this event. That's huge. So yeah, everything, all of it, all of your stamina, it all goes into this event. Do it all. Everything you got. It's worth it. Farm the hell out of this, get bigger, badder, stronger, and faster. Now let's talk about the actual teams. Now, I've tested all of these teams with just single S imprint, and they all work just fine. All the double S and triple S imprint does is make it faster. If you have Shaltear on the team, she makes death sentence tick down by 2s instead of 1s. It's so much faster to kill. And she also gives a 30% speed buff to herself and Ainz. That helps move things along much faster. If the fight takes you 2 minutes to beat with Shaltear, it'll probably take you 4 minutes to beat without Shaltear. It's, I would say, 2 to 3 times slower running this without Shaltear. Does that mean you can't farm it? Hell no. You can still farm the hell out of this. It's just slow. But let's do the math on it, right? It costs 30 stamina to do this. Let's say it takes 4 minutes to clear because you don't have Shaltear. If it takes 4 minutes to clear, we take the number of minutes in 14 days, we subtract out 7 hours a day for sleeping, we just run this in the background the rest of the time, and we make sure we always restart it. We use the leaves at 4, I'm pretending I'm doing the math in my head, but really I worked this out already. It's 1,800 leaves to maintain this rate at 4-minute clears all the way till the end of the event. You got 1,800 leaves? If you got more than 1,800 leaves, then maybe you want to pick up Shaltear or run a faster team than what I'm going to show. If you can do it in 1 minute clears, that's almost 9,000 leaves. Okay? You don't sweat too much about giga speed and giga efficiency unless you are ready to swipe or you're literally sitting on multi-thousand leaves to farm this event. You'll probably run out of leaves way before this event is over, and as long as you are consistently clearing, that's all that matters. Now, for the first team, I'm going to go as free to play as possible, right? We're going to take Ainz, and I'm going to put him not on any set, right? He's not on any consistent set. I got some 78 gear in here. He's got 100% crit, sure, but, you know, he's soft. He is dog slow. In fact, he's base speed. I got his artifact only to +4 because I didn't get that last artifact from the shop. Just throw 6 pieces of gear on him. If you want to give him some damage, you'll be a little bit more consistent. If you want to give him some speed, you'll clear a little bit faster because he'll cycle his skills more. But it really doesn't matter. I just put her on a random damage set, a speed and pen. She doesn't need to be this strong. The stronger she is, the faster you'll clear because she is my damage dealer on this team. I do have her artifact with 1 tick in it. The artifact doesn't help you clear faster. It just gives you more currency per run. So if you have multiples of, if you have her artifact, you will get bonus currency. Here, I'll show it to you right here, this double plus. Because I have her artifact, I'm getting 20% more currency. If I imprinted her artifact another tick, I would still only get 20 currency. You got to imprint it 3 ticks to get to the 30% currency. Now, if you only have 2 of her artifact, I would recommend not imprinting it. I don't know that 10 currency is worth forever sealing 2 artifacts together. You can't separate them again once you've sealed them together. So really consider maybe holding 2 copies of her artifact back, just in case her artifact winds up being insanely broken on a different unit. You'll be glad you kept a copy of it back. You'll be glad you sacrificed the 10% currency, you know. I know it looks like I didn't do that, but I got pretty lucky on her banner and wound up with 3 of her artifacts. So I held 1 back for future proof, and I got the imprinted the other ones so that I could get the extra currency. We're talking 10 to 20% currency. We're talking 9 to 18 additional currency per run. That's nice, but again, it's just bonus. It's not required. It just makes you more efficient. And that's it. Now these 2 alone, I am worried that Ainz's healing might not be enough to keep up with it. I don't think it is. Plus, I want 1 other unit in there to help cycle through the death sentence, so run a Soul Weaver. Any Soul Weaver. Any Soul Weaver other than Aether. Really. I mean, this Aether, he's 5-star, 4-star Awaken. He's just got random gear on that doesn't make any sense. As a defense set, he's slow as dog. I'm not even sure what that artifact is. I don't even know if he needs an artifact. But he's a healer, and he'll help take the edge off on the damage. Literally any healer would be better. You have on Angelic Montmorency Runner. You have a DN, would be amazing, but she is limited. But she CR pushes and has attack buff. Amazing option. Amelia, again, limited, but she CR pushes and has an attack buff. Angelica, Momo, stronger healers than Aether. You got lots of options here. But this will work. And my last piece of advice, please make sure your pet is in place. 16.5% maximum extra side story currency, and even if it's a brand new pet and you're just hovering down here with an unleveled one at B rank, a buck's a buck. It's still 16.75% extra side story currency. Don't leave cash on the table. Take a adventure pet, a side story pet. Do not use a hunt pet. Hunt pets are for hunts only. This is not a hunt. None of these things will happen, ever. Make sure it's a side story pet to make the side story things happen. And then we press go. Now on this team, we'll turn all of the skills on and just let it roll on auto. So at the start of the fight, boss does this AoE thing, puts stigma on everybody, pisses Ainz off, he gives you some barriers, which helps reduce the damage. Shaltear is our damage dealer. She uses her S3 and does significant damage to the crystal. Now you'll notice that the priest is behind a stealth, and it's an undispellable stealth. So Ainz can't see the priest and can't put death penalty on the priest, so he only puts it on the crystal. Whenever the crystal takes a turn, it fully heals itself. See that? Fully healed himself. What a jerk. But notice how fast Ainz is ticking up. 6 to 9 to 10 to detonated. And that hurt the crystal enough that it lost all of its health and got stunned. And when the crystal loses all of its health and gets stunned, the priest's rattle becomes visible and Shaltear can start dropping bombs into the priest. Look how hard that girl hits. Now, this incoming damage is why you kind of want to have a Soul Weaver on the team to take the edge off. There you go. So you just do chip damage to the boss over and over again like this until Ainz gets his death sentence up again. This is why maybe you want to run a faster Ainz. Anything to cycle him faster, you get this skill up a little faster. Because Ainz can see the priest, he can apply death penalty to the priest. There's one. We got one tick up here. Watch how fast this goes up. It goes from 2 to 3. Now we take a turn. 6. 7. 10. Goes up so much faster. And that effect is happening because Shaltear is on the team. Now he survived and the crystal came back to life. So unfortunately we can't see the priest anymore. And we go back to having to beat down the crystal to re-expose the priest, to reapply death penalty, to move the fight forward. But even 4-star Aether, poor old 4-star Prince Aether, oh wait, that's King Aether to you. Poor old King Aether is holding it down. Between him and Ainz, we seem to be keeping the healing together. That's why I think if you can run any kind of Soul Weaver that brings more to the team, one that attack buffs, one that CR pushes, one that does damage, put Blaze Dingo on the team. You know what? Put a Ranger with Bloodstone on the team. Anything like that, and you will have faster clears. Okay, and that should pop and kill the crystal. Crystal is dead. We can see the priest again, and we can finish this fight off. Get him, Shaltear. Blammo. And that priest is dead in this run right around 3 minutes. Which, if my math is right, means if you run this non-stop until the end of the event, doing 7 hours of sleep every night, but other than that, just running this non-stop, you're going to need somewhere around 2,500 leafs to take this all the way to the end. So if you don't have 2,500 leafs, and you don't mind running this in the background on your computer all day long, you'll be fine with something this slow. This is as free to play as it gets, guys. If you can't build Shaltear as much damage as I had, it just takes a little bit longer. And we get 90 currency because of the pet reward buff and because of the artifacts that I'm wearing, both Shaltear and Ainz. You might get a different amount on this. It could be because you're farming a different stage. Could be because your artifacts are a different level. But let's talk about an alternate team, a better team. Let's say you can do better than Prince Aether. So let's get rid of Aether. And this is a really nice free-to-play team. I think you'll like it. If you have Fire Schuri, we put Fire Schuri on the list. Fire Schuri gives a speed imprint to Lord Ainz. And for a DPS unit, we can run good old Terranor Guard, a 3-star unit that most people have and can build. No 5-star units other than the banner ones. No ML units, no limited units. Pretty clean team. Now, if you don't... The whole point of this is Fire Schuri CR pushes every time he attacks. And Terranor Guard CR pushes every time he attacks when it's not his turn, and he will dual attack a lot, guys. The point of this is to use these units to rapidly cycle Ainz, to really churn him through the fight as quickly as possible and make his death sentence go even more often. Now, if you don't have Schuri or Terranor Guard, you can supplement with other. Say you don't have Schuri, Green Landy. CR pushes the whole team. That's a good alternative. If you don't have Green Landy, you can choose people that force dual attacks with Terranor Guard. You could run Sinful Angelica. You could run Camilla. You could run Kitty Clarissa. You could run Tamarin as your healer. If you are going to run this team, I think you're okay without a healer, but if you find you start dying, you can always put Bloodstone on Fire Schuri. But in this case, I'm going to run a relatively fast Fire Schuri. He certainly does not need to be this fast. You could easily run him at 200 speed and work just fine. I'm going to put him on the Rosa Hargana artifact. This artifact procs after dual attacks happen. So there's no chance of this overlapping Terranor Guard. If Terranor Guard dual attacks, great. If he doesn't dual attack, this is a separate check to see if you get to dual attack with Schuri. So it really gives us double chances to CR push our whole team. Schuri does need crit chance because for his S1 to CR push the team, it has to crit. So make sure you've got 100% crit chance, and if you can load more damage on this guy, it'll be even faster. So you may want to consider slowing him down to load some damage on him. He certainly doesn't need to be this fast. Terranor Guard, we're just going to put a double unity set on him. And make your third set pen set if you've got it. If you don't have it, the third set can be whatever set you want to get some additional stats. You want 100% crit chance because he is our damage dealer. And as much damage you can get. This is very, very low damage, but it's the best I could do with the double unity set without going too nuts into, well-loved characters. 30% is maximum dual attack chance. It caps at 30, just like crit chance caps at 100. You can't get to 33, 35. It doesn't happen, so do not put triple unity on them. You'll only get 1 extra % dual attack chance. Just make that last set pen to do extra damage. As for an artifact, I like Ancient Sheath because it's free and it's 16% damage, but there's a whole host of damage-dealing artifacts you can use, from Symbol of Unity to Victorious Flag to... Anyway, just put an artifact on that does damage. And it's the same Shaltear and Ainz that I ran on the previous team. Just a little bit of damage on Shaltear. And Ainz is just on 6 random pieces of gear that I found laying around, and he's... Base speed. If you make Ainz faster, this will be even more efficient. Now watch how much faster this is. The last team was right around 3 minutes. Let's see how this one does. Oh, and I forgot to mention, make sure you have your pets on. Everybody's skills off except Ainz. The reason for this is S1 skills are the only ones that can trigger dual attacks, and you want to maximize that chance. Look at that. There's a dual attack with Terranor Guard. Schuri CR pushes. Terranor Guard hits. Look how fast we're moving people around the CR bar. Ainz applies his death penalty. I'm sorry, his death sentence skill. Attack. That was the Rosa Hargana artifact. Made us dual attack with Schuri. CR push up from the attack. Some damage. Where's my dual attacks? There we go. Rosa Hargana gives us a dual attack. Now, if you don't have Rosa Hargana, you can use Sword of Judgment. You can use Dust Devil. You can use Bloodstone. Notice our health is getting a little bit lean. So, Bloodstone is not a bad idea for some healing. But look how fast we are chewing through this. We're already below the halfway point, and we're applying another death sentence. And we get it before the crystal self-heals, so it's back on the main boss again, and that's what makes this so fast. All these dual attacks. Boom, clean. It was less than a minute and a half. Less than a minute and a half for a very free-to-play option. Now, given there is some RNG, right? The more dual attacks you get, the faster it's going to clear. If you get unlucky and you don't get many, if any dual attacks, it's going to be a little slower. But pound for pound, this should clear in a minute and 15 to a minute and 45 reliably across the board. Little slower if you put Bloodstone on Schuri to keep the healing on the team if you find yourself struggling to stay alive. But really, nobody here was bulky. Everyone here is built pretty glass, and they all made it through pretty good. So I think this is the fastest free-to-play team. And now we come to a giga-fast team. First, we're going to be running Ainz Ulgon. Make sure he is slow as a potato. You want him to go last. Our goal is to kill the crystal off so that Ainz can have his first turn be putting Death Sentence on the priest. Putting him on his own artifact for extra currency. If you can get the crit chance on him, great. It's bonus damage, which is always nice, but don't sweat the damage too much. All that's important is that he is slow. And now we have, in order, Shaltear first. She will be our fastest unit on the team. I know 177 doesn't look fast, but remember with the 30% speed buff, she is well into her 230s. Have her on her own artifact for bonus currency. Give her as much damage as you can. We need her to soften up the crystal so that when Lilius S3s, she procs her S2 and gives the attack buff. If you don't have her own artifact, give her a damage boosting artifact like a Symbol of Unity or Victorious Flag. Next is Gala Lilius. She is the second fastest unit on her team at 216 speed. This is just my normal RTA Gala Lilius, but I changed her from speed boots to attack boots to make her go a little bit more damage. I didn't need her this Zoomy. You can try imprint on or off if you have imprints on her. See what works best for you. I have her on Prelude to a New Era to keep her HP low so that she does extra damage. You could also run Portrait or Victorious Flag or any damage dealing artifact. Last is going to be Watcher Schuri. Now, Watcher Schuri needs something that the others don't need. He needs immunity set. If you do not have immunity set on this unit, there's a chance that the crystal will cut, your unit will get hit, and his skill cooldowns will be applied, and it's going to bugger the entire run. So you got to get immunity on Watcher and make him strong enough to one-shot the crystal. Gave him a Symbol of Unity to assist with the damage. The EE doesn't matter. None of these EEs matter. I've got him on this one in case he gets a chance to use his S3 again. It doesn't ever happen. So really, other than the speed, the EE has zero impact whatsoever. Much like Cidd, you can turn his speed imprint off, turn crit chance imprint on to try to increase his damage. And I don't think the speed imprint really matters that much in this fight. And one more time for the people in the back. Make sure your side story pet is on. You want that 16.5% extra currency. Hunt pet does nothing in this. This is a side story. It's got to be the side story pet with the bonus currency skill to get the bonus currency. Once we're sure of that, we press go. In the fight, everybody's skills turned on and away we go. The first thing that happens is the priest AoEs. This angers Ainz. He uses his S2. Shaltear should be the first to go. She drops her damage into the crystal, and this will do enough damage to weaken the crystal to a point where when Lilius uses her S3, it will take the crystal below 50% health. Now, sometimes the crystal will cut, and you risk having your units reset. In this case, the crystal did not cut, so we drop the S3 in, zeroing out the crystal, and that allows Ainz to put Death Sentence directly on the priest instead of the crystal, and that speeds us along a little bit. Doggos attack, Shaltear attacks. We're doing pretty decent damage. Shot in the face from Schuri, a hit from Ainz, and the pop from Death Sentence does a good chunk of damage. Shaltear rolls in with her S3, doing a good chunk more damage, and Lilius uses her S3, and this should finish the priest off in under a minute 15. If you can pull this team off using Janua instead of Watcher Schuri, and remember you need immunity, will be faster. If you can pull this off using Cavil instead of Watcher Schuri, will be faster. I couldn't pull off those teams, not without completely disassembling my RTA lineup, which I'm not doing the last few days of the season. But both those units hit significantly harder than Watcher. There is no replacement for Gala, however. I am afraid you do not have Gala. You're just going to have to use the next team, which honestly is the fastest team we've got. Okay, guys, here's the team that you've been waiting for. This is the fastest clear team. This team comes to you courtesy of, I'm just going to call him Ice. He's one of the map makers from the Ancient Inheritance Bread map room. I'm not sure what his actual name is. I don't speak Chinese, but that's what Google Translate told me at least. This guy came up with a pretty big brain team, and it is relatively low gear requirement for all things considered. First, we're going to run Ainz and we're going to run him fast. The reason we're running fast is the goal of this team is cycling Ainz so that the death sentence kills everything. 250 speed with the speed buff he gets from Shaltear, this guy's going to be zooming. The crit chance is nice, but not required. Every little bit of damage helps, but don't worry too much about the crit. Just try to get him north of 250 speed. Make sure he's on his own artifact so you get the bonus currency. Second fastest unit on the team is going to be Sinful Angelica. I know she looks like the fastest at 262, but remember Ainz gets that speed buff, and that's why he is zooming so fast. So she will go second on the team. The ER doesn't matter. You do not need effect resistance on this team at all. Just go for speed. That's all she needs. The EE is useless except for the speed buff. None of the EE skills matter. I've put her on Idol's Cheer to help cycle our DPSs around a little bit. You could also go with Warhorn or Card of Small Miracles or some other attack boosting artifact. Make sure you've got her imprint set to give the top and bottom units an attack buff. Next will be our sub DPS Shaltear. Shaltear, we're just giving as much damage as possible. I tried to attack tune her a little bit with Cidd, try to make sure her attack is lower than Cidd. This will make sure that Cidd is the one that gets dual attack to Singelica instead of Shaltear. Got her on her own artifact for additional currency. If you weren't lucky enough to get her artifact, just put her on a damage dealing artifact like Symbol of Unity or Victorious Flag. Give her as much damage as possible. I know 177 seems slow, but remember she speed buffs herself, so this is actually closer to 230 effective speed. And our primary DPS will be Green Cidd. Cidd is hard to beat for damage, guys. First, his EE doesn't matter. Like, you could just take it off. None of these skills help out. We're not using anything but his S1, and his S1 is only a slow debuff, which we don't really care about. I put him on Our Beautiful Seasons for damage. Mind you, this only does damage versus elite or boss monsters, so it will not impact the crystal. Trust, the crystal is not an elite or a boss. It's just a normal mob, so you won't get the bonus damage versus the crystal, but we're not really worried about the crystal. Death Sentence is taking care of the crystal, so this is pretty good for damage into the priest. If you don't have this artifact, just run Victorious Flag or Symbol of Unity, or hey, run Dust Devil. It's a little RNG, but as long as it procs, you should do okay. 192 looks slow for Cidd, and it is because we got him on attack boots. I know he's a speed scaler, but his attack scaling is just better than his speed scaling. If you are struggling hitting stats, you can always turn his imprint off and give yourself the crit chance and build him that way. I don't think the 10 speed really impacts the team that much. And one more time for the people in the back, make sure you have your side story pet up so you get that 16.5% extra currency. Hunt pet will do nothing. This is not a hunt, this is a side story. Make sure it's your side story pet. Make sure you get that extra currency. Don't leave money on the table, guys. It's free currency. Make sure you take advantage. We press auto and away we go. Now, you notice Shaltear and Cidd's skills are turned off. That's not required, but that's just animation we don't have to watch, and it speeds things up. Ainz does his S3 and puts the death sentence on the crystal, and now we're on a ticking timer until the crystal dies. Sinful Angelica does her S3, gives a speed buff and an attack buff to everybody, and cleanses the stigma so we get full advantage out of the Idol's Cheer procs. People are hitting the crystal, but it doesn't really matter. We are waiting for that crystal to proc and pop and kill. And once that crystal is dead, boof, now we can start hitting the priest and start doing some real damage. Ainz uses his S3, reapplies the death sentence. Nice. Unfortunately, Cidd procced effectiveness and speed buffs. He never gave himself the destruction buff, so we didn't do as much damage. And that means this fight's running a little slower. Usually we would have killed by now, but it goes a little further. And we have killed at right around 1 minute. This is pretty stably a 55-second to a minute and 5-second clear, and it is amongst our fastest teams to date. Now let's pour one out for the homies, the people who were not able to get Shaltear and are going into this with only Ainz. You lose the ability to cycle Ainz's skill faster, so it's just slower. It can still be done, it's just slower. My recommendation is that you just take a Soul Weaver. Any Soul Weaver will do. Ideally DN because of her attack buffs, or Momo because of her constant healing, but really, we can go ahead and run Aether, it's fine. And just take 2 random DPSs It doesn't matter. As long as they are solid DPS units, I am going to choose to run Cidd and fire Schuri just to speed things along. Our goal here is to cycle Ainz. You could also run Cidd and Terranor Guard. You could run Schuri and Terranor Guard. You could run any Weaver. Really, any Weaver is better than Aether, to be honest with you. The goal here is we're just going to cycle Ainz so fast that his death penalty is what kills everything, and hopefully we do it fast enough that we don't trigger the frenzy. So we're going to turn the DPS unit skills off because there's really no reason for their skills to be on. You notice the CR pushing coming off of Schuri. That's the effect of Rosa Hargana. You can also put Bloodstone on Schuri if you want to speed it along. Options for Schuri is another CR pusher would be Landy. Green Landy is really good on Bloodstone to help keep things moving along, but Schuri doesn't have animation, so we move it pretty quickly. You notice how slow death penalty is ticking up. It's only going up 1 at a time, and that's because we don't have Shaltear, and that's why this is so much slower. But just like normal, when it hits the 12th tick, it will pop, and we'll be able to start directly hitting the priest. So that should pop it, and boom, now we can be hitting the priest. And we can start doing decent damage. Aether keeping us healed as best as Prince Aether can do. Ainz also keeps us a little bit healthy. I do like Ainz in the front. He's probably the tankiest unit on your team, especially if you're relatively new. I didn't show the gear on these units because the gear doesn't matter. You need that, well, the gear matters a little. You want to have a 100% crit chance on Schuri. He needs to have a 100% crit chance for his CR pushing to work. I recommend either Bloodstone, Sword of Judgment, or ideally Rosa Hargana for the dual attack chances and CR pushing. Cidd, you just want as much damage as possible. You do want crit on Cidd so that he always crits, but put as much damage as possible. You can run Gala Lilius in place of Cidd. You can run Terranor Guard on double Unity set in place of Cidd. Plenty of damage dealing options for that third seat. All that matters is that you do enough damage that you chip this guy down before Frenzy pops up. Fire Mercedes would work fine too if you are really new and don't have free units. You could use Adventurer Ross to help tank and his S2 for dual attacks. All that matters is you're punching through enough damage that you kill the priest before he frenzies. And there you go. About little over a 2-minute run. It's really not that bad. We're talking about the difference between a 2-minute run with just Ainz versus a 1-minute run with the whale team using Shaltear. Even with a 3-minute team, you're going to need 3,500 plus leafs to farm this event the entire time, non-stop, with only like 7 hours of sleep. You're like 3,500 leafs before you just don't run out of leafs farming with 3-minute clears. So yeah, don't sweat having the fastest team. Don't feel compelled to pull Shaltear because because you're worried you're not gonna be able to clear fast enough. You got 2 solid weeks. Do the best you can, get the currency you can get, and wreck. Oh, and by the way, if you got Shaltear's artifact but not Shaltear, definitely run Terranor Guard. He's a warrior and he can wear Shaltear's artifact. I hope this guide helps you guys out. I know it was a lot of teams and there's a lot of diversity. This round is definitely harder than last round. They're really making us work for our speed pen and crit sets, but hopefully you've got some ideas from this and it helps you move forward. If you don't have these units, if you need some help, if you have questions, jump into my Discord, shoot me a DM. Ask them in the comment section. If you think you've got a better team, let me know about that in the comment section. I would love to hear it. And you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy farming the event, and I'll catch you guys the next time.